proud to be a woman.
Girls and women are
powerful,
beauty,
badass, feminine,
passion,
equality,
power, professional,
diligence,
advocates for change.
Welcome to She Plus, the female empowerment podcast that tells the extraordinary stories of everyday women. I'm your host, Elise Dean. On today's episode, we spoke with Kelsey Roche, a rising artist, and talked about her female-focused art. There are literally hundreds of different forms of artistic expression. From music to painting to podcasting to writing, people master countless ways to express art. And often, there's truly no method to their madness. You might ask Beethoven what his inspiration was behind Für Elise, and though it wasn't me, contrary to popular belief, he may likely say there really wasn't one. He just liked music. So he wrote what sounded pretty. The same for me. I just like audio storytelling. So I started a podcast to tell stories. There's usually not some big romantic idea behind how people kickstart something unique. The answer actually lies in passion. And this answer also goes for Kelsey Roche, a rising female artist who draws female body art. From hands and faces to boobs and vaginas, Kelsey has a talent and passion for art.
For me, I love looking at art. I love having beauty around my home. And even throughout college, all my walls were always covered in posters or canvas prints or pictures. I just love having something to look at that makes me happy. And I think art is a good, mature way and thought-provoking way to do that. Pretty much the way it started. I'll dive into the story. So long story short, I graduated college late, as some people who are listening probably already know. So at the beginning of my last year, which was last fall, so 2018, I found myself with a lot of free time and most of my friends were gone. So I needed a hobby, and I've always been a doodler in class and stuff like that. And I've always kind of found myself as a creative person. My mom will say that I've always been artistic. She has this picture of a lacrosse player I drew that is absolutely hideous, and she thinks it's like the greatest thing ever. But she's a mom, so obviously she does. And so I just started doodling a little bit, and then I started my Instagram account mostly just for me to catalog what I've done. Then some of my friends and family started following it, and I just kept it going. And a couple of my friends asked if they could hang up some of my art in their rooms and in their homes. And I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever, that people actually like stuff enough to hang it up in their homes. Like, I hung some of my stuff up in my room, but only because it was mine. And then slowly I got some random followers, and some people would message me for requests for prints. And now I'm at the point where people are asking me for tattoos and crazy stuff like that. It's so cool. Every time someone asks for something, I just get so excited that someone really likes my stuff as much as I do.
But Kelsey doesn't practice watercolor or sculpting to display her pieces. She is a line art artist. For the non-artistes out there, let's take a brief lesson of what line art is. Line art is known as one of the basic fundamentals in visual art. Line art consists of straight or curved lines that typically lack shading or color and represent multi-dimensional figures, per Wikipedia. The line is said to be the hallmark of art because if you think about it, everything in art starts out as a line. Now, I'll be honest, I did a lot of research on line art for this episode, and I'm not exactly an art expert, but it is worth mentioning that Leonardo da Vinci and Pablo Picasso have famous line art pieces. But this isn't a video, it's a podcast, so you'll have to go look at her page, Kelsey Line Art, on your own. But if you know of her work, Kelsey often draws female bodies.
I started with drawing female body art because it was something I was definitely more comfortable with. I mean, drawing a pair of boobs is really not that hard. And I have boobs, so I kind of know what I'm working with. And over time, I just felt that it I wasn't really expecting it to have this result, but it gave me confidence with my own body as well. Like I've always struggled with my body image like most girls have, but with these drawings, I've kind of found an appreciation for all shapes and sizes. And although the drawings aren't necessarily like of me, but I don't know, it's given me more confidence. And now I'm like, honestly, like the healthiest I've ever been. I'm not over exercising. I'm not under exercising. I'm eating healthy. But not obsessing over it. I'm just happy with how I look. And because I think honestly with these drawings, I've seen like curves and saggy boobs and all that. It's cool. Everything looks so pretty. I mean, I found a lot of body positivity within it, and even joining Instagram and following other artists and other feminist movement pages, I've just seen a lot of people who are also confident in their bodies, and this whole body positivity movement has just really spoken to me. And it's sad that it's taken this long for people to be proud of how they look and not feel ashamed. But I truly think that every body is beautiful, and this is a good way to show that.
Kelsey has a lot of popular pieces. I have some of my own. And some of these pieces are, in fact, boobs and vaginas. But Instagram doesn't really like that.
So how much do you know about what Instagram's boobie censorship?
Yes, okay.
Tell me about your thoughts as a line artist that draws female body. What do you think about Instagram's boobie censorship situation?
The Instagram censorship is kind of ridiculous. It's very sexist.
Instagram has installed some sort of like auto censorship for anything that remotely looks like a female nipple.
And it's like, I've gotten some of mine censored. That Joyce, which is one of my favorites, I tried to do an Instagram promotion of it and it wouldn't let me because it had nudity in it. Like, it wasn't even a real nude. I was just so confused and kind of shocked, and it made me kind of angry. And I know I follow a bunch of other accounts that post photos, and they complain about the censorship all the time. And then you see major accounts like, Barstool Sports or like Instagram influencers, and like they're wearing, like, not that I have a problem with it, because I think people should wear and post whatever they want. It's just not fair that the accounts that usually are run by the males, they're not getting censored as much as women artists, or like what I'm showing isn't inappropriate. Like, that's what female body looks like. It's just a piece of art. It's not offending anyone. This has been talked about for a while, but why can a man show his nipple on Instagram, but a woman can't? It makes no sense. I mean, we all have nipples. They don't look very different. It makes me so angry because you would think that people would be starting to open up to it all more, but they're not. I feel like Instagram and Twitter and social media has been great for our generation because it promotes free speech and education and communication between all different types of people. And I don't really understand why we need to censor that at all.
But the definition of femininity is not quite what it once was. In previous episodes, we've touched on the historic definition of what femininity looks like to society.
According to UK lingerie company Blue Bella, and they took it upon themselves to survey men and women to find out what they thought was the perfect man and woman using celebrity features. So they like the face of Cara Delevingne, Gwyneth Paltrow's stomach, Emma Watson's hips, Elle Macpherson's legs, Jennifer Aniston's breasts, Duchess of Cambridge's hair.
But society is embracing a new norm. Femininity can really be a characteristic of all genders, not just a woman. So I asked Kelsey how this new norm influences her art and how she chooses what to draw. That and more coming up after the break. Hey, you've all followed my journey with She Plus and might be thinking about starting your own podcast. Well, I'm here to tell you to use Anchor for yours. Let me explain. Anchor is a completely free platform that allows you to record and edit your episodes right from your computer. Easy, right? Well, that's actually not all. Anchor also sets you up for success by distributing your podcast to platforms like Spotify and Apple. You don't even have to lift a finger. And finally, you can make quick, easy money on Anchor, even if you have a smaller audience. It's everything you need all in one place. Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Welcome back. Femininity is so in, for both men and women. So how does Kelsey consider this new norm when she's drawing her next piece?
For me, most of my art has been the traditional idea of femininity, but I think, anyone can be feminine. I think that's up to you. Anyone who sees himself as feminine, I hope, can relate to my art. I don't just draw female bodies. I have hands and faces and some that are just naturally ambiguous. And I think for me, just the way I draw it, I want to invoke a beauty with a strength within it. And I think that that's how I personally define my own femininity, is with strength and beauty. But I think that being feminine is such an open-ended thing that you could kind of define it for yourself. I mean, I have 3 sisters. There's 5 women who live in my house. We all identify as feminine, and we're all so different. So I think that art is kind of what you make of it. I mean, I definitely want to expand on what I do to make sure that everyone feels included in my art, because everyone should feel included. I'm not trying to ostracize anyone. I'm just trying to find beauty in what I see and who I am.
And on the topic of men, this is a female empowerment podcast, but Kelsey and I are both aligned on the belief that female empowerment is not just a one-gendered thing. It takes both genders to exist. So I asked Kelsey how men play a role in her line art.
So my followers, it's 80% women, 20% men, which I'm not surprised by that at all. But I know one of my friends who follows it. He texts me about it. He, wants pieces and is very supportive. And I think that's great. I don't think that women should be the only ones vocal about women's rights and the female body. I mean, I'm not saying they all need to hang up drawings of boobs in their homes, but I don't think they should be afraid to do so. As an artist, I don't know if I know how to draw a male body, so I don't think that's how it'll fit into my page, but I think that men should absolutely be involved in this. It makes me upset when I scroll through like Twitter or Facebook and I see all these powerful women and women I know, tweeting or posting about femininity, feminism, women's rights, all that. And there's definitely a lack of voice from men. I remember I saw a tweet that was, is he hot or is he just vocal about feminism? And I'm like, yeah, like so true. Any guy that can talk about feminism or be supportive of it without being weird about it, it makes me so happy. Like that's how everyone should be. We're not asking to take over the human race. We just want equal rights and an equal voice in all atmospheres.
Both of us work on and publicize our own forms of art for public consumption, and sometimes scrutiny. The energy put into ensuring that all of your followers would like something is often draining, especially because it's impossible. It can leave you feeling vulnerable. For Kelsey, she's been at this for 2 years, cultivating her own collection of line art pieces and sharing them with the world. But she's not afraid to admit that she's grown a lot as a person and as an artist since she first started.
It's definitely grown since I remember scrolling back to the beginning of like how you were mentioning how you drew before to now.
It's very different, right?
It is, but I mean, it's kind of cool to see the evolution of Kelsey line art.
It's exciting. This is something that I would have never thought I would have done. I really only started it out of boredom and need for a creative outlet. And I've just been blown away by the support I've gotten from friends and family and strangers. And now I have like little Instagram friends that, I'll never meet, but there are other artists too. And it's so cool to have a community of other, I mean, it's not just females, but it's mostly women that I follow, and we're all supporting each other. I recently bought some art from someone I follow on Instagram now, and I was so excited to have her art in my home too. It's just kind of crazy that there's all these communities of women out there that are so strong and talented and powerful, and that I didn't even know I had access to. And I feel like this is a great way for me to share like my voice. And I mean, everyone has different ways of doing it, and this has just definitely been the best way for me. I've definitely grown as an artist and as an individual. Like I said before, I'm more confident in my body, and I'm also more confident in talking about femininity and sexuality and feminine health and all that. It's just kind of crazy how much I feel like I've grown as a person in just 1 year.
But Kelsey isn't the only talented and accomplished person in her family, which is why she nominated her sister, Caroline, to share some more of that Roche magic with She Plus.
I would like to nominate my sister, Caroline. She is starting her own business. It's a book provider service. She just registered with an LLC, and she has like all of her paperwork. It's a great idea. She's gotten some startup money, and I'm so proud of her. It's really quite inventive, and I haven't really talked to her about it that much, and I would love to know for her what it's like starting your own business from the ground up in the tech space as a woman. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, thanks for doing this, and
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later.
All right, that's everything from us at She Plus. If you like what you heard, follow us on social media at she_plus_pod. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on February 10th.